Hey guys, welcome back. So, I know it can be a little bit hard to pick your leader. You guys are gonna have to pick leaders when you start the game, and you're gonna have more leaders to pick down the line. So, I thought to help you guys, I should create a tier list of all of the 13 leaders from different factions we have in the game right now. All 13 leaders have a different playstyle, and some are better than others. So yeah, let's get into it. But before that, please, if you guys love the content, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I'm gonna make so much more content about this game. Normally I do deck guides. I already have 2 videos, so you could go in the description to watch these 2 videos or go on my channel. So without further ado, let us get into this tier list. Yeah, so just quick disclaimer, my tier list is perfect. What all other tiers you can see are wrong. I have the only right opinion, everyone else is wrong. So yeah, please remember that I'm the only one that can be right. And yeah, let's get into it. So our first leader that we have is Baron Rivenbear. And where does Baron go? I think some of you guys may expect it. He's an instant pick, okay? If you have the option to pick him as a first one, he's fantastic. He has the ability of spawning Rivenbear purely summons skeletons at building you control, which is extremely good because it just harasses the enemy, right? So in PvP, for example, it's really hard for your opponent to get any chests, any gold mines, because there's always going to be some skeletons that are going to threaten that miner everywhere on the board. All right, so just quickly, I'm going to consider these leaders as if they had one talent. So I'm going to say which talent I would pick. And yeah, so that's how I'm going to rate them, because we all get a free talent from the first leader we pick. So I think it goes without saying that we can consider a single talent, right? And also, it's really rare that some people have like 2 talents for a unit or a leader as of yet. So yeah, let's stick to one. And yeah, so for the talent, I would choose Chill of the Grave, where you summon skeletals mages instead of warriors. And these skeleton mages that are going to spawn to your bases, that's going to go harass, now have range, so they can attack air and they can slow. So it's just like crazy good. The amount of harassment from this leader by itself is really good. So it's really easy to put Baron to the top as an instant pick. If you see him, I would suggest just picking him immediately. We're going in order by faction, so this was the first Undead leader. Our second Undead leader here is Blood Mage Thalnos, right? So where do I put Blood Mage Thalnos? This is actually the leader I picked. So Blood Mage Thalnos is a leader that obviously is a mage, so works with spell. And every time you play a spell, he's going to level up. That's his unique ability, which is good. But for me, I don't think it's an instant pick. I think he's going to be at the bottom of A. We'll have to see what else fits in A. Because at the start of the game, you don't have many good spells, so it's really hard to get a good value out of him. And even if you do have spells, sometimes they're going to cost too much. I think it's really niche. You have to play specific spells to make him good. So yeah. Blood Mage Thalnos is going to be in the A tier. So here we could see Thalnos gains 1 level for each spell you play until death. So yeah, it's good because he's ranged. He has AoE, so he can be like a defensive unit, or like a defensive unit in your push. So if you're pushing with one strong unit, he can be the one that's going to clear the splash damage, clear the harpies, clear the angry chickens, clear all of those swarmy armies there. The talent I picked for me was Drain Life, but it's not really good. It gains lifesteal, but it's not a big amount. I would suggest you guys go for getting Bane. Playing a spell increases attack speed by 30% for 5 seconds. So 5 seconds is huge, and 30% is huge. So Bane as a first talent would be great. I think Drain Life will be better once you already have Bane, because the lifesteal is going to get bigger, right? Because if we have more attack speed with Bane, then the lifesteal is going to give us is going to get more value. So the 30% increased attack speed should give us 30% more lifesteal, right? So yeah, go for Bane here. and this makes Thalnos a good leader. But bottom of A. He could be top of B, but I'll go with bottom of A. So now we're jumping into the Horde Leaders. So we have some good Horde Leaders. Horde is my favorite faction. Let's start with Grommash. Where does Grommash go? For me, Grommash is an instant pick. I love him so much. He's my favorite leader. So what does Grommash do, right? Grommash has, he's a melee, so he's a bruiser that costs 4, and all nearby friendly units gain Bloodlust. So Bloodlust is the ability of giving nearby units more attack speed and more movement speed, right? I think it's 33%, which is really good. So nearby units are gonna be stronger, and this works with basically everything. And since this leader has value with every single target you play with him, it just makes an extremely good starter leader for any deck. For me, I love the fact I love to play the Shaman with Grommash. Because the heal is going to be more, just the attack. It works also with the miner, so you're going to go through the gold mines faster, and I think he mines faster too. So yeah, Grommash just has so much value. For the talents, right, I strongly suggest to go for Bladestorm. Bladestorm gain an AoE blade spin ability that damages all nearby enemies. This is really good because in the meta, there's a lot of Baron Rivet there, which spawns a lot of skeletons everywhere, right? So Grommash with an AoE will be really good, and he has a very good matchup against Baron, which is an extremely good leader. So go for that talent, and Grommash is really good with that. Next up, we have Cairn. Cairn is very fun. He's a melee leader, and he has the ability of your Horde troops have 20% increased health. So now it forces us to play Horde troops with Cairn, right? So him by itself, he's a bruiser. He is melee, but has some AoE effect behind him. I believe he can even he even stuns when he attacks, which is really good. But unfortunately for 5, he costs a little bit too much, and the 20% increased health for Horde troops is clunky because most of the Horde troops cost a lot, and you can't really have that many high-cost units in your deck. So you're only going to get value for certain units, which makes Cairn not the best leader. He's still good, but he's not as good as Grommash and Baron, right? So I would put him once again bottom of A, but I would go with B. If you love the playstyle, if you love the Horde playstyle, go ahead. But yeah, he isn't too great, but he's a ton of fun. Next up, we have Sneed. Sneed is a leader that you get with the war chest, with the guild war chest. So it would be like a do not pick because you will already get him. You will already get him in the chest. But let's consider him if you didn't have that war chest. So Sneed, right? Sneed has the ability of gain 2 gold when a siege damage unit destroys a tower, captures a meaning sword, or opens a chest. So this, I don't think this is worth the 5 cost of Sneed, unfortunately. Sneed gets destroyed really easily by a lot of aerial units or some elemental units. He does have some good damage to turrets, but you guys know how turrets work. Turrets can be rebuilt quickly, so if your opponent plays something defensive, he can just take back the turret. Yeah, and I don't think his effect is worth it enough. So I'm going to have to put Sneed in the if you love the playstyle. You have to play Siege deck as well, so it's really niche. So obviously he's going to fit in here in the B tier. Now let's get into the Blackrock Leaders. So we have Rand Blackhand, our first one, which for me he's top of A. I love Rand. I have a video on my channel on my best deck using Rand. So Rand, let's quickly see what Rand does. So Rand, he's a 6 cost, but has the ability of your other flying troops cost 1 less gold while Rand is in play. But luckily, flying units are really good right now in the meta, especially for the eggs. Eggs allow us to be defensive with some flying units, which is really good because that's the biggest weakness from all these aerial decks. So yeah, I feel like flying units are really good, which makes Rand Blackhand really good. He can struggle into some matchups against like Maeve where there's a lot of unbound units. But yeah, just him by itself with the eggs and him by itself makes him just extremely good, because there's a really good offensive push with like Gargoyle and Ren. And there's a very good defense play with the Flaming Soul talent, which casts Living Bomb upon dismounting, damaging nearby enemy. This is a 6-cost spell. So basically, if you play this in defense, you play your Ren in defense by himself, he can destroy an enemy push, like a 15 gold enemy push just by himself, which is very crazy. So just this effect reimburses the Rend cost of 6, and then you have like a dismounted Rend Blackhand, which is still going to give the effect to all your other flying units, which makes Rend really good, but he's just not as oppressive as the other picks in the S tier, right? I forgot to mention to mention a few talents here. Cairn, I would go for the Reincarnation. After Death, Resurrect at 50% health once. It's good, but like he just doesn't have really a lot of good talents. But the best one would be that. It's just like good value. Sneed, I would go for. You know what? I would go with Mine is Money, friend. So a minor trait can be good because, like I mentioned, Baron is really oppressive right now in the meta. So having Sneed be able to mine can be very good, because he's got to clear the skeleton and then mine the gold. Especially on the map right now, we're gonna have to see the next PvP map, but we still have the same map for a long time. Did I forget one? Yeah. So I think I talked about every single talent. Okay, we're good. So next up for our Blackrock leader, we have General Drakisath. So General Drakisath is has the ability of nearby enemies take 50% more elemental damage. So he's a big tank that doesn't do a lot of damage, but buffs the other nearby units, right? Or how can I say that? Nerfs the enemy units by giving them more damage from elemental damage. So this, unfortunately, is not good enough to make Drakisath go in A, but he does fit in the B tier because if you really love the elemental playstyle, you can play him. So I'm going to put him just under Cairn here. I think he's just above Sneed, but they're all pretty interchangeable here. So yeah, General Drakisath, he's fun, but he's not really good, unfortunately. So yeah, for the talents, I would go for the Piercing Blows, which attack pierces through enemies in the line. I love AoE, so for me, I would go for that. There's a lot of swarm armies or swarm troops right now, and plus, like if you it liberates a slot for you to play something else than a unit that deals with splash, right? It deals splash damage. So yeah, General Drakisath, he's cool, not good enough. I'm gonna have to put it in B if you love the playstyle. All right, next up, let's go for our alliance leaders. So we have first of all Jaina Proudmoore. So Jaina has the ability of increase the level of your spell by 3 while Jaina is in play. So once again, another leader that is really dependent with spell. So unfortunately, she won't be able to go higher than Blood Mage Thalnos. So they have the same issue here. But I think she's actually just a little bit under. I'm going to have to put her at the top of B, I believe. So she can have some value in some spell decks, especially with Blizzard works. Blizzard works really well in this deck. And yeah, she has a talent here of Flurry, which is the one I suggest. Frostbolts, burst on impact, frosting enemies near the target. So this is really good because it gets good value. It's good in defense. Any freezing ability in defense is really good. So yeah, Jaina is a good pick here. Or sorry, this talent is a good pick. But yeah, Jaina is not strong enough. But if you really love the playstyle, you could play her. That's fine. Next up, we have Maeve. So Maeve, where does Maeve fit? For me, unfortunately, she goes in bad, right? So like, even if you love the playstyle, there's I think it's really easy to defend against those unbound lists. If it's the first time you're playing against a Maeve list, you might get surprised and you might lose. But then it's really easy. You just play extremely defensive. When the unbound unit spawns, you just play your own unit, and then you're going to have a counter push, and he's going to have some gold wasted. So I think Maeve is not too great. So what does Maeve do? Let's get a little bit more detail. Maeve has the ability of her cost is reduced by 1 for each unbound troops you play. So once again, you have to play all unbound unit to be able to play her for an affordable cost. And then you can combine it with Enveloping Shadows, which casts Smoke Bomb on deploy, stealthing nearby allies, okay? But yeah, even though I don't think this is enough, I think this is good, but Maeve is just not good enough in the meta right now. In PvP, she's going to struggle. In PvE, she's going to struggle in a lot of, on a lot of missions. So yeah, unfortunately, Maeve is C, but she's really fun once more. All of those leaders are really fun, but yeah. So where does Tyrion? Tyrion is the next one. Tyrion heals all nearby friendly units, okay? But he heals as an AoE, which is very, very huge. He's also a tank, so he can take some good damage, and he is armored, okay? For me, Tyrion is actually an instant pick. I think he's a great pick. He's a great starter pick. He has so much value, just like Gromash. Tyrion has some value with every single unit you play because he's going to heal all of them. He's really good with like footmen and all other units like so. But yeah, Tyrion really good. Yeah, if it's the first time you play against Tyrion, you're probably going to get crushed under the amount of pressure he can apply with some other units. Tyrion, really good. For the talent, I suggest going for By the Light heals the primary target for twice as much. This can give even more value for specific units. Yeah, I think he's a great pick. I would suggest him to everyone. And yeah, let's finish it up with our beast leaders. So we have, let's go first of all with our Hogger here. So Hogger is actually, for me, the best beast leader. He has the ability of Hogger's movement and attack speed increases by 35% each time he is played. So the idea is to play a cycle list. So you play very low-cost units, and you cycle back to him because he gets stronger every time you play him. So that's the idea. It's, once again, really niche, but he's the best beast leader, and so I'm going to have to put him in the B tier right about here, I think. He's okay. He's not great, unfortunately, even though. And for the talent, I would go with the Ham Hawk. Hogger also gains plus 10% max health each time he's played. This can get really good because at the end of the game, if you play him like 4 or 5 times, he can get really tanky as well. But yeah, when you're playing this list, you have to play very defensive at first because your units are not really strong. You don't want to do a hard push because you're really struggling against some hard-hitting push if you don't have a lot of gold, right? So yeah, Hogger goes in the B tier. Next up, we have Charlga. So I think you guys would notice if Hogger's the best beast, these two go under that. So unfortunately for me, Charlga goes in the C tier. She's just so clunky. Her abilities, your minis in hand share the same cost. What? So yeah, even I don't completely understand it. She has the ability of rooting enemies, which can be good, but if you know how to play against her, it's too clunky. It's not really good. Yeah, she's just not good, unfortunately. And I don't even like her playstyle that much. So yeah. And then finally, old Murk-eye. He goes in the F tier. Do not pick. So I think he's really bad. Everyone is running Chain Lightning, so old Murk-eye doesn't get any value. So let me explain. Old Murk-eye costs 4, and by himself, he's really bad. So his ability must be good, right? So for 5 seconds after deploying, summon a Murloc Tidehunter for each gold spent on other minis. So the idea is to play him and then play as much gold as you can. But unfortunately, those Murloc Tidehunter are just going to get destroyed by Chain Lightning, which is really prevalent in the meta right now. So yeah, he's just not really good. he doesn't get enough value from his effect. And even if you go with the electric eel attacks briefly stun enemies, it's not good enough. He's just too squishy. So many things can counter him really easily. He can't really defend against a big push. Chain lightning destroys it. Blizzard destroys everything. He costs 4, right? So if you play the Murk-eye and you're opening Blizzard, he's gonna kill the Murk-eye and hit your turret. So it's just so tough to play him. He's not good at all. So yeah, this is gonna be it for the tier list. I'm gonna update it maybe as we reach the official launch of the game. I hope this was useful for you guys. Tell me which leader you guys picked. And tell me what you guys want to see on this channel moving forward. So yeah, I normally do deck guides, so this are gonna deck guides are gonna come on the channel this week. So more deck guides I meant. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love this game. I'm gonna do so much more content on it. So once again, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.